All right, Chris.
Oh, did we go somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. This is a totally new day. Totally different
I love
episode.
that.
We
Even
didn't
though we
just
have
hit
the
stop
same
and start.
outfits on. I know.
Oh, we do got a few jackets on. That is how we do it. Hey guys, we are back. Welcome back to the Extraordinary Podcast. Last you left your heroes, we were talking about something else, and now we're going to talk about something new. So the whole point is I'm Keanu, that's Chris.
That's right.
These are brass knuckles for the education system. The whole point is what?
You got to help your consumers consume.
There we go. Okay. All right. So Chris had this thought. He was teaching a session. By the way, Alchemy Sessions, the first one was very private and personal and impactful. And those that were there would say it changed their life. Okay. I think that they would. Would they? Life changing?
Okay.
Life changing. We have a live studio audience again today.
Camera.
But Alchemy Sessions, we did our first one on convergence theory, which is Chris's proprietary theory.
That's right.
And the next one is going to be Thursday, December 4th, positioning and messaging that sticks right there at Alchemy Charlotte, 10 a.m. to 11:30. So be on the lookout for that and some other fun things coming in the new year that we're going to be doing together to help serve your business. But Chris said, Keanu, take a note because this will be a podcast episode. People forget the whole point is to help your customers consume.
That's right.
We parked it. We're back. What did you want to share?
Well, there's a lot I wanted to share, but the question that I'm going to kind of flip back to you is that if you think about a selling situation or an entrepreneur explaining what they do, or even worse, because you mentioned something that's really interesting about the curse of knowledge, is that the curse of knowledge is it's psychological and it is actually practical, which means that the curse of knowledge is if you know a lot about a particular topic, you're the least likely to innovate. You just stay in the lanes. So anyway, the question I pose to you is that how often do you think a salesperson or an entrepreneur accidentally sabotages themselves in the middle of a kind of a presenting and selling process, or just explaining to what other consumers what they do? How often?
I think more often than they would like to admit. I think a lot of times.
They do, yes. And then how do they do it? How do they sabotage themselves?
Well, one of the first ones comes in that is like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then it's like, sometimes people will be kind and like they'll give you that look of like, oh yeah, okay, because they don't want to be like, I don't know, because people are prideful and consumers are prideful, and no one wants to admit like I don't know what that means. I'll be the first to tell you, like if you say a word, I don't know what that word means, I'll ask you.
I do the same thing. You know what? I do it with TLAs.
You know what I'm gonna start?
3-letter acronyms.
I'm gonna start throwing out words that don't fit.
Yeah.
Just to see if you'll correct me.
Okay. Yeah.
Not you guys.
I will.
Don't tell anyone else. I'll just start throwing it out there just to see. Anyway, long story short, this is where we get on these rabbit trails, Chris. We're bad for each other, but we're so good for each other. They will. I think one thing in that is that you know so much about it, so you'll start using this technical language, and
that's right.
What does that mean? And I don't know. And I promise this is not just about a recent conversation that we had. A lot of people do this. Finance does this. Real estate does this. I dealt with it a lot in commercial real estate. Yep. They're throwing stuff out there like, again, 3-letter acronyms. I don't know what that means.
That's right.
Break it down for me.
We were in a meeting at my old company, and a product manager was explaining the product, and she used so many 3-letter acronyms. I had no idea what she was talking about. And I started the company. I had no idea what she was talking about.
You ever think someone just started to make them up, on the spot?
It meant a lot. So here's the issue: is it meant a lot to her, but it meant nothing to me. So there was no transference of information, no transference of education. And I think a lot of times people who are selling and entrepreneurs who are presenting, I think a lot of times they don't want to talk down to their audience. They don't want to be basic to their audience. But I had a mentor say that if you talk on a 7th grade level, 7th graders understand it and PhDs understand it. That's just the way that he explained it. And it's true, it's even if you talk at a basic level, you're not talking down to anybody, but you just need to talk in a way that they understand.
Yeah.
So, you have to help consumers consume. So there's multiple things that the first thing is in the evaluation of what you do and what they want. So you have to be really crystal clear about what you do and how that fits their purpose. And the thing is if you don't know their purpose, you got to ask them. You got to find that out, because you can't assume they value something that you do, and we just can't assume.
Yeah.
That's just the biggest thing. So the first thing is you have to understand what you do and what they need actually matches. And then the second thing that you have to do to help them consume is you've got to give them a path. You've got to give them the steps that they need to take in order to consume. Now, with some people, it's really easy. You have $5? Yes, I'll take your $5 and I'll give you this thing. All right, done. And other people, and so this is the reason why I like innovative tech. And with innovative tech, you've got to send them through sometimes 4, 5, 6 different steps that they have to go through in order for them to consume. And the biggest thing you start with is, well, what does it do? How's it going to affect you? You know, you also have to talk about pricing and investment and justifying the price. You also, and now today's day and age, if you're doing business to business, you have to get other people involved, because it's no longer a singular decision-making process. Even with spouses, they have to be involved. And so not only do you have to help them consume, you have to, and I think this is the true part of selling, is that you've got to give them the steps that they need to go through in order to be a consumer, because they just don't have it on their own. They don't have a natural buying process typically.
Okay.
Are you shocked?
No, I got a lot. I'm just thinking a lot about it. I think why does it get lost, first of all? Like, why does, from your experience, someone who's selling that starts to go down that path and forgets, like, I think we talked about it a little bit before, but sales is about finding out where you are and where you want to go, and how, if at all, what I have can help serve that journey.
Yeah.
But more often than not, especially like in this scenario of just like over explaining the curse of knowledge, I want you to know where I'm at and how you can come pay me to be where I'm at.
That's
and it's just so backwards. Is it nerves? Is it commission breath? Like, what is it that puts someone in that position? Is it lacking of experience, empathy?
I think that people ultimately, especially salespeople, especially people who have egos, which is all good stuff, I think ultimately they want to be a benefit to somebody. So what they do is, when they want to be beneficial, they tell them why they like it or why it's important to them. And in both of those two things are irrelevant. I always used to say that your opinion of whether the customer should buy or not, you should leave that out. Now, you should believe your product and you should be passionate about what you do, but your opinion of them buying is less important than their own opinion of them buying. And so if you leave your opinion at the door and concentrate on their opinion, you're going to be much better off, because now you're focused on them. Now you're focused on their situation. Now you're focused on their needs. And now you're focused on how you can help them. It sounds simple, but let me tell you, why do salespeople not do this? Why do entrepreneurs not do this? And I think it's a battle against the basics. So, and I don't like athletic analogies. I don't.
I got some for you.
But John Wooden, and I don't know how many championships he won. Do you know who he is?
I have no idea.
I think he won 7 straight national titles in the 70s.
What sport is it?
Basketball.
Okay.
Yeah. He the very first he was famous for the very first practices he showed his players how to put on socks, which just sounds a little crazy, but he was a master at the basics, a master at just the basics, and his teams did really well because they were so good at the basics. And he had a philosophy that only we can beat ourselves. So as long as we execute and we play our game, no one can beat us.
You know how Vince Lombardi? You know Vince Lombardi?
Yeah.
The one the Lombardi Trophy is named after.
Well, we're in different generations,
Cream
so
cake.
I actually remember.
Probably actually do. Yeah, I remember seeing film. Vince Lombardi, Packers head coach, the one that the Lombardi show was named after, he would start every training camp with professional athletes. And he'd say, gentlemen, this is a football. And I always love that example because it is back to the basics.
It is.
So it's just what you're sharing is reminding me of that, of like, it almost feels demeaning to look at professional athletes and say, this is a football. Like, yeah, duh. But it's more of the practice of, we got to get back to the fundamentals.
That's it.
So what are the steps? What are the routes? What are the basic things that we need to get back to understand how to actually be most effective? Is that the line you're getting at as far as, you know, how a salesperson can go back to the basics and keep it simple, stupid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what are the basics?
Well, I want to let you cover that because I got a journey here of how I had scaled my coaching company and where I found out what they were really looking for and keeping it really simple because it started off really complex.
Let's do it. Of course it does, because you're a complex guy.
So mysterious.
And in order to help your customers consume, you do have to be simple. Simple is powerful.
Well, so okay, when I wanted to start the coaching business, I had found a assessment that changed my life. Absolutely changed my life. I finally understood why I was the way that I was. I know it's a big problem to solve. But I had taken a lot of personality assessments in the past in law enforcement, all these other careers. I found the Enneagram, and the Enneagram was really impactful to me because it didn't just tell me what I did, it told me why. And that's what I needed. Like I would read every other assessment that would tell me what I did. And I'm like, I know. I live with me every day. I know, which at least I knew because self-awareness is a real thing that's lacking in the world. But I knew what it was, but I didn't understand why or where it was coming from. And that was very impactful to me. It changed every relationship in my life. It changed my leadership. It changed my relationship with the Lord. I mean, it changed everything in me to understand where it was coming from and then to measure that against my life experiences and why those also compounded, because I do think that it is nature and nurture. There is a wiring that we have. No matter how hard I try, I could not have good hair. I just can't. It is in my wiring. I could have a great beard. We have different strengths, right? So with the Enneagram, it helped to show that. So then when I started to teach it in my leadership pipelines with the church that I was at, and then they started bringing me into their companies to do it, I'm like, oh, easy. Just go sell the Enneagram. So I had developed an assessment specifically for business, and I started to go sell the Enneagram. I was selling the tool. Not even, I would talk about what it would do, but first I was trying to sell the tool, and it didn't work. What I ultimately wanted it to do was people that understand themselves, that are self-aware, they're better to work with, they produce better results. It took too long to explain that to the consumer. So they weren't consuming it. It wasn't working. It wasn't tasting good to them. Then I thought, okay, well, let's focus on what it provides, motives and self-awareness. What if you knew and your people knew why they were doing what they're doing, and they were aware also of the impact they were having on the people around them? Should be good enough, right? Still not enough, because finally I'm thinking, what is the consumer wanting more than anything? And I wanted to focus on business owners. More than anything, they want to grow their company. They weren't seeing, and it's on me to show them how what I'm trying to sell helps to grow their company. So the next step was, well, solving people problems. I can solve your people problems. You have people problems? I know you have people problems. We all got people problems. People are a problem. They're also the point, so we can't get away from it. I was getting closer. I was starting to turn it around, and then I found the absolute home run, and it was the beginning, focusing on growth. Hey, do you like dealing with your people problems as a business owner? And some people are like, well, yeah, sure. I'm like, well, how much? More than you like growing your business? No, I'd rather grow my business. Great. Well, what if I freed you and your team to focus on growing the business, and I came and solved your people problems? And I will charge $300 an hour for coaching. I'll charge $1,200 for team sessions, and I'll sign you up for a 6-month or a 1-year contract, which some of them would be $20,000 to $40,000 a year for one client. And they absolutely said yes. And my sell, as far as the value of it, because I know, you get paid, this is a whole episode to itself, in direct correlation to your value, right? Value-based pricing. We'll talk about that more later. When the value exceeds your price, you get paid, right? The value is here, the price is here, you're getting paid.
That's right.
If the value is here and the price is here, you're not getting paid.
That's right.
So how do you stack the value? I would share, all right, well, this is going to be, $28,000 a year contract. And they're like, whoa. I'm like, okay, what would you pay a staff person to do that? At least 40. And you couldn't. not with this experience, right? I'm not for sale. I'm not for hire. So you're getting a value because you would either have someone on your team who should be focusing on growing your business doing this. And I'm not enabling poor leadership. Everyone needs to grow in that. Or you pay me a fraction of the cost and you get the same results. Done. So I got to that on focusing on the growth, and then they ate it up, and it crushed. It did really well.
Good. So you simplified your message. Is that right?
Yes.
You simplified your message. You gave them the ability to consume that simple message, and then you helped them justify it.
Yes. It's like Chick-fil-A. The calories don't count. All those things.
And the funny thing about
how's our clock?
I forgot to hit the button.
Lee, how's our clock? Cool.
It's all right.
Let's land this plane.
What was I going to say? The funny thing about
help them justify it.
The funny thing about being an entrepreneur, a salesperson, is that you can either help your customer understand why you're important, or you can leave it up to them to figure it out. And by the way, most people do B. And that's why there's about a 10% closing ratio. My thing is, I would do A. I would help them understand. I would teach them why you're important, and I would teach them how you can consume it, how you should justify it. And then and the funny thing about teaching, somebody told me this, Socrates told me this. He said, when the student...
You are old.
When the student is ready, the teacher shows up.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the way that you help consumers. You have to teach. That's why I want to eliminate selling and change it to teaching.
I agree.
And educating, because that's what the consumer really needs.
I agree. Got anything else?
Yeah, I do.
I know, but next
We're
time.
out.
All right. Thank you. See you next time.
See ya.